Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to Dallas Cowboys Fan, your ultimate destination for all things America's team. Whether you bleed blue and silver or are just starting to catch Cowboys fever, this is the place. If you are a diehard fan, please make sure to subscribe for more latest news and updates of your favorite team. Today, we're diving deep into the raw emotions and fallout from yet another devastating Cowboys loss to the 49ers. And let me tell you, CeeDee Lamb is not holding back. Before we get started, make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest NFL drama and analysis. The Dallas Cowboys versus San Francisco 49ers rivalry has become one of the most compelling storylines in the NFL, but for Cowboys fans and players, it's starting to feel like a recurring nightmare. Star wide receiver CeeDee Lamb put it bluntly in his post-game comments, saying it's sickening and it really sucks, and honestly, who can blame him? Let's break down exactly why this loss cut so deep. This wasn't just any regular season defeat. This was the third time in recent years that the 49ers have crushed Dallas's dreams. The frustration in Lamb's voice tells the story of a team that's tired of coming up short against the same opponent, especially when the stakes are this high. Now, before we get into Lamb's full comments, let's set the scene. The Cowboys came into this game with massive momentum, but the 49ers defense showed up like they always do. Despite Lamb's incredible individual performance, and trust me, we'll get to those numbers in a second, the Cowboys just couldn't get over the hump. Looking at Lamb's stats from the game, you can see why this loss is particularly frustrating for him. He put up impressive numbers, fighting for every yard, making contested catches, and showing why he's considered one of the elite receivers in the league. But in the NFL, individual performances don't mean much when you're on the wrong side of the scoreboard. Here's what really stands out about Lamb's comments: the raw honesty. In an era where players often give generic responses, Lamb laid it all out there. "It's sickening," he said, and you could hear the pain in his voice. He's not just talking about one loss. He's talking about a pattern that's becoming all too familiar for America's team. Let's put this in perspective, fam. The Cowboys 49ers rivalry goes back decades, but this recent chapter has been particularly brutal for Dallas. We're talking about losses that have ended seasons, crushed Super Bowl dreams, and left lasting scars on this proud franchise. The psychology here is fascinating. When Lamb says it really sucks, he's speaking for an entire organization and fan base. Think about it. The Cowboys haven't reached the NFC Championship game since the 1995 season. That's almost 3 decades of falling short, and the 49ers have become something of a boogeyman for this team. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is something not enough people are talking about. The Cowboys aren't just losing these games, they're losing them in ways that feel almost scripted. The 49ers seem to have their number, and it's clearly getting under the skin of even the most composed players like Lamb. Now let's talk about what this means going forward. When a star player like CeeDee Lamb publicly expresses this level of frustration, it usually leads to one of two outcomes. Either it becomes a rallying cry for improvement, or it starts to create cracks in the foundation. There's also the question of roster spots. The Lakers would need to waive a player to make room for Howard, and that's not a decision to be taken lightly. Would the potential upside of adding Howard outweigh the cost of cutting a younger player with potential? But let's be honest, when you have a chance to add a player of Levine's caliber, you don't let cap concerns hold you back. The Lakers have always been a franchise that swings for the fences, and this move would be right in line with their history of pursuing star talent. Now, I want to hear from you, Lakers Nation. What do you think about the possibility of Zach LaVine joining the purple and gold? Would you be willing to see D'Angelo Russell go in order to make it happen? And what about the Magic's involvement? Do you think they could be the key to making this deal work? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. and let's get a discussion going. This is the kind of move that could shape the NBA landscape for years to come, and we want to hear your take on it. It's worth noting that this isn't the first time Howard has expressed interest in returning to the NBA. He's been vocal about his desire to continue playing at the highest level, and has even mentioned other teams as potential landing spots. But there seems to be something special about this appeal to the Lakers. It feels more personal, more heartfelt. Howard's journey with the Lakers has been nothing if not dramatic. From the disappointment of his first stint to the redemption of the 2020 championship, it's been a roller coaster ride. Could this be the final chapter in that story? A last hurrah for a player who's experienced both the highs and lows of NBA stardom? One thing's for sure, it's got people talking. Social media has been buzzing with reactions to Howard's plea. Some fans are all for it, reminiscing about his contributions to the championship run and arguing that he could still provide valuable minutes off the bench. Others are more skeptical, suggesting that it's time for the Lakers to look to the future rather than the past. Former players and analysts have weighed in as well. Shaquille O'Neal, never one to shy away from a hot take, had this to say: Dwight still got some gas in the tank. If he's willing to come in and play his role, why not give him a shot? On the other hand, Charles Barkley was less enthusiastic. The league's moved on, man. Dwight had his time, but the Lakers need to be thinking about the next generation, not the last one. You've got to wonder what's going through Jerry Jones's mind right now. The Cowboys owner has built this team to win championships, but they keep running into this same red and gold wall. And when your top receiver is using words like sickening in post-game interviews, that's going to raise some eyebrows in the front office. Let's put some numbers behind this frustration. The Cowboys have consistently been one of the most talented teams in the NFL, but these losses to the 49ers expose gaps that need to be addressed. And when you look at the stats side by side, you start to see patterns emerging in how these games play out. The fan reaction has been just as intense as Lamb's comments. Social media is blowing up, and Cowboys Nation is feeling every bit of that frustration. But here's the thing, and this is what makes sports so compelling: there's always next season, always another chance to rewrite the story. So what's the takeaway here? When CeeDee Lamb says it's sickening and it really sucks, he's not just venting after a tough loss. He's expressing the culmination of years of frustration, the weight of expectations, and the unique pain of repeatedly falling short against the same opponent. This is the kind of honest emotion that makes sports more than just a game. It makes it human.